Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
There are going to be two components in this course. One is flow sheeting. The other is computational fluid dynamics. These are the two topics that we will cover in this course. What are your expectations in this course? I'm sure some of you would have used process simulators or some CFD tool, CFD software. Anybody wants to say anything? Like answers, yes. Yes, DWSim. Yeah, we are going to spend we are going to focus on these two topics. Yes, Aspen. Absolutely. Yeah. COMSOL. So good. I'm happy that you have at least some exposure to the ideas to be covered in this semester. Professor Yogendra Shastri is also here. He may also be willing to answer the questions. Professor Yogendra Shastri is my colleague. He'll be teaching the second half of this course, computational fluid dynamics, and he'll be using OpenFOAM, which is an alternative to ANSYS, Fluent, and so on. Right? In our part, we are going to use DWSim. If there are any questions, you're welcome to ask them. As I already mentioned, I'm going to be covering only the first half, and a similar presentation may be made by Professor Yogendra when his second half starts. So we are going to actually cover only DWSim. I'm not going to cover Open Modelica. Scilab you can use if you wish. First, I would like to begin by saying high-tech helps common people. Okay, here is an example of Cyclone Varda. So here is an article. If I'm not mistaken, it is a Times of India article. So if I click this, see this Cyclone Varda, ISRO satellites. Let me close this. ISRO satellite saved 10,000 lives in Tamil Nadu. This is an article that came in 2016. So that means the high-tech things that we are talking about are actually useful, right? Our high-tech activities are cost-effective. Here is an article on Chandrayaan-2 mission. Chandrayaan-2 mission is cheaper than Hollywood film Interstellar. Okay, and once again, this I have taken from Times of India. Our high-tech activities are cost-effective. So another example, Mangalyaan mission is cheaper than the movie Gravity. On the next slide is the relevant one. That's how I'm connecting this information with our course. Simulation is a cost-effective method. So once again, this is an article that appeared in Economic Times. Okay, and it says that Mars mission is the cheapest. Why it is so? And they are saying that use of technology. And one of the reasons given is that we use simulation effectively. Okay, so as a result, in this course, what we are going to do is to use simulation to predict the plant behavior, and that is going to help us design a plant, to improve a plant, to bottleneck a plant, to decide the operating conditions, and so on and so forth. There are many things that we would like to do on the real plant, but then it may be very expensive, and we may not be able to shut down the production in order to do these studies. Whereas if we have a simulator, we will be able to do all of these on the software without any risks. There is no safety issue. There is no question of affecting the products, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, there is a study that found that 95% of engineers in India are unfit, for software development. By the way, if you just do a search, 95%, here it is, the Hindu Business Line. Let me click this. It's a very important, look at this. 95% engineers in India unfit for software development jobs. Okay, it's a serious problem. It was based on a study of 36,000 students from 500 engineering colleges. By the way, they are all computer science students, computer science and IT students. Only 33% can write code that compiles, and only 5% can write code that works. Okay, it compiles, but it gives the correct answer only 5% of the people. Unfortunately, the situation is worse. Only 1.5% can write functionally correct and efficient code. If you think that a code should work efficiently, then only 1.5% of the students of our colleges can write computer programs. In fact, this is a serious problem, and as a result, we have to take these courses very seriously. This particular course, for example, DWSIM, it talks about using computer software for chemical process simulation. So we have to take these things seriously, and so that I have already told you that this is extremely useful to industry. I gave examples from Chandrayaan, Mars mission, and so on. In fact, there are also examples from chemical industry. The plant that came in Reliance Refinery, Jamnagar, that when it came out in, I think it was in late 90s, that was the world's largest single stream refinery, and not a single pilot plant study was conducted. It was all done completely through software, design software, simulation software, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it is extremely important that we learn this technology. And chemical process simulation, of course, has matured quite a bit, and we can predict things quite well. The predictions given by software are pretty good. We will be using free and open source software. We will work with the code, not black box, to build systems. Use and share them free of cost. When I say build systems, I'm talking about even a software is a system, software system. Use them, use the software developed by somebody else. And you can also share the software that you create, share it with other people. Suitable for nationwide efforts. Imagine if we go for a commercial license, then we have to give that license to everyone in the country. By the way, there are 350 departments in the country that teach chemical engineering. And if you assume about 60 students per department, you're looking at of the order of some 20,000 students per year. Okay, then you're talking about 4 years of students. Then you're talking about students who graduated in the past, who work in the industry, and so on and so forth. We are talking about a very large number of students. Imagine giving each one a licensed copy of commercial software, whether it is Aspen or ChemCAD or one of those. Okay, so very expensive and not suitable for nationwide efforts. It turns out this open source software approach helps companies with proprietary software also. How it is going to help companies that use proprietary software? In fact, some of you mentioned Aspen Plus and so on, and I'm sure that it is possible that you might have seen those packages in a company when you went for summer training or something like that. I'm claiming that the open source software approach helps companies that use proprietary software also. Not only that, there are some companies that have a company policy that they will go by this particular proprietary software. They will only believe the results given by this proprietary software. So I'm talking about an extreme case, right? But in this slide, I'm saying even those companies will be benefited by the approach that we are taking in this course. That's what I will explain now. What is the industry situation? Many companies don't use proprietary simulation software. They are very expensive. Of course, there are some that use, as I mentioned in the previous slide. Even if they use, they have only one copy. Okay, a large plant, lots of people, okay, maybe 20 engineers use them, but only one copy. And many engineers depend on this copy. And because only one person can use at a time, other people wait for their turn. Why don't they get lots of copies? That is because it is very expensive. It is very expensive. And of course, they cannot use this software, this kind of software, or for that matter, any software without a legal license. They will get into a lot of trouble. So these engineers who depend on this single copy of the proprietary simulation software have to wait for their turn. So maybe a whole day they might have to wait, maybe a whole week, depends on how busy that software is, depends on how popular it is. But if only they can use open source software, everyone can have their own copy. They can have their own copy in the office, at home, while traveling, and so on and so forth. Even in cases of a company having to use a proprietary software, they can always do all the previous level calculations using the open source software with everybody having their own copy, and they finally have to validate it on the commercial platform. Of course, this requires extra work. They have to maintain two solutions. One, an open source platform, which everybody will be using. They'll be trying out various things, and the final run only has to be validated. And if it is validated, then they say, okay, use it, no problem. Keep on doing it. After a while, they'll say, hey, this software seems to be pretty good. Why do I have to validate? Every time it gives the same answer. So it depends on how good the open source software is. So there is no, I'm not saying that let's give a handicap, okay, because it is open source. I'm saying that it has to give the correct answer. I'm saying that provided it gives the correct answer, we should use it. And a company that depends on commercial software may also come to that idea if the open source software keeps giving the same answer. So either way, it's a very good solution. Even if there is a slight change, they may have to tweak a little bit, but then let's say 99% of the work would already have been done in the open source software. So to do the last 1%, it may not take much effort, and the software is very similar. So if you learn in one software, whether it is open source or commercial, you will expect similar kind of features in some other software. So migrating to another software will not take too much time. Okay, so that is the introduction. Now let's come to the work that we have to do in this semester. So what is flow sheeting? Solving connected systems of chemical process units for a problem at hand. Okay, you have a problem, you have chemical processing units, you have reactors, mixers, distillation columns, pumps, and so on and so forth. And you know what happens. And of course, you have a chemical process system. You have, say, production of some chemical, which is produced in the reactor, and then you separate the products from, let's say, unwanted things from the raw material and side products and so on and so forth, byproducts and so on and so forth. So that may happen in one or more reactors. that may happen in one or more distillation columns. And you might have different types of columns. You might have different types of reactors, and so on and so forth. You will also have heat exchangers, absorption towers, and so on. So connecting all of them, modeling each one of them, validating all of them, and then solving the thermodynamics behind it. So these are all the issues that we have to worry about. Now, the software that helps do this is called the flow sheeting software. Okay. So Aspen Plus, somebody mentioned, is a flow sheeting software. In this course, we are going to use DWSim so that you don't have to worry about license keys, especially students from outside. Somebody mentioned that we have 30 perpetual licenses. In order to access the license server, you have to go through VPN, and it's a lot of work. Whereas if you have your own software, your own copy of the software, you will be able to use it at home without any problem. So we have selected DWSim, keeping this requirement in mind. So DWSim is a flow sheeting software because it can solve connected systems of chemical process unit for a problem at hand. What are some of the features of DWSim? One is CAPE Open Thermodynamics. What does CAPE stand for? Computer Aided Process Engineering. So CAPE Open Thermodynamics, that's a standard. So it is available in DWSim. This is an important requirement for chemical engineering systems. Unless you have proper thermodynamics, unless you can predict equilibrium constant, unless you can predict the composition of a, let's say, liquid phase in equilibrium with a gas phase, things like that, and vice versa, you will not be able to solve any chemical engineering problem to reasonable level of accuracy and hence usefulness. So thermodynamics is extremely important. As a matter of fact, some people estimated the thermodynamic calculations taking up about 80% of the time. It takes about 80% of the time, right? Some people predict even more. So thermodynamics is the heart of any of these flow sheeting software. It has built-in unit operations. You can also models. You can also add models through Python or Scilab. You can connect all these building blocks and then simulate. It's modern technology. For example, here I have written you can add models, that is, of unit operations. I'm going to give some examples of it later. So you have a model, you have a new process unit, you want to model it, you need only Python or Scilab. If you have to do the same thing in Aspen Plus, you have to write it in Fortran. How many of you have heard of Fortran? Not many, I guess, right? I will be surprised if any of the students in the class actually knows Fortran, okay, has even heard of Fortran. So it is a modern technology. It is based on, it allows Python written code, it allows Scilab written code. So this is where Scilab I mentioned at the beginning, right? It is sequential modular simulation. That is, it solves one block at a time, and then it iterate. In fact, you will see an example of it later when I give a demonstration. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to do it right away. And it has been created by a friend from Brazil, okay, DWSim. His name is Daniel Wagner. So I'm going to give a brief demo of DWSim. I've already opened DWSim. Basically, I click the DWSim icon and this came. And let me take this dealkylation example. The reason is it's quite a complicated one. So you'll get an idea, a fair idea of what are the kind of things it can do, how long it takes, and things like that. So you can see that it has come. So I will just zoom it a little bit. I'm just using my trackpad to, so you can see all of this pump. You can actually see some of these things. Okay. So let me solve this. When we solve, because it has recycles, what it will do is it will assume some values, it will go in a particular order, and then come back and iterate. And you will see some of the screens coming in red. Red means unsolved yet. And as it finishes solving, it becomes blue. So let me click this solve flowsheet button. You can see all of it is red. You can see that it is going in a sequence and it iterates. Okay, it is finally converged. In fact, you can see here. It tells what converged. Okay, this is recycle loop 3, recycle loop 4, recycle loop 5, and 6. And it says that it was calculated successfully and it has taken about 20 seconds. Okay, and you can actually see all the values. For example, you can see what it is. You can see the output. What is a separator? There is a column. It talks about various things. Let me just see. Okay, it gives details of various things. And here is a flow sheet. You can look at the material streams. You can see the results. Okay, there it is. So all the things are hydrogen recycle, vapor stream. It gives information on various things. So it is available. So this is an example of I demonstrated this reasonably, I mean, it's not extremely easy, it's not extremely complicated, but it is something that we can actually demonstrate in a matter of few minutes in this class. So I gave a brief demo of DWC. Now I'm going to give a course plan for autumn 2020, that is the current semester. Mind you, it is only for the first half of this course that deals with flow sheeting. So the week 1 will start from next week. By the way, you don't have to make a copy of it. I will upload this slide so you can actually see that. We will also have the video available to you. You can go through that also. Okay. Now, we actually have learning material called spoken tutorials under the same heading, under the same name. For example, I have a tutorial called Creating a Material Stream in DWC. I'll show you that shortly, right? But just see that this is week 1. These are the things that you have to do. Mainly, we are learning about thermodynamics. Week 2, conversion reactor, creating multiple reaction set. Week 3, more reactors. Week 4, Gibbs reactor and equilibrium reactor. Week 5, shortcut column, distillation column, sensitivity and analysis and adjust. Week 6, heat exchanger, shell and tube heat exchanger and absorption column. Okay. These are available through spoken tutorials. A separate tutorial for each of the previously mentioned topics. It's available here. So let me click this so you can actually go there. Okay. If you recall, some of these things were mentioned: creating a material stream, introduction to flow sheeting, shortcut column, rigorous column, sensitivity analysis, plug flow reactor, CSTR, conversion reactor. So all these things are there. Okay, creating multiple reaction set. This was also mentioned. There are two more here: custom unit operation using Scilab, custom unit operation using Python. In fact, these two may be useful for some of you, although these two are not going to be used in the lab per se. These may be useful for some of you. I'll explain to you shortly what it is. How do we conduct the lab? Every week has topics to be covered with corresponding spoken tutorials. For every topic that I mentioned in the previous slides, there is a corresponding spoken tutorial. You are supposed to go through the spoken tutorial. You are supposed to practice. Practice means not just listen to it. You can actually take DWSim. Please install it. You have next 1 week. Install DWSim. Whatever we ask you to do in the tutorial, I want you to practice ahead of the class. So whatever is required, I would want you to do. In fact, I will show you what you have to do. So let's take shortcut distillation, just for example. And here is the video. Okay, I can play that.
Welcome to this tutorial on simulating a shortcut distillation column.
Okay. Now what I can do is I will keep it in one side of the screen. I won't maximize it. And then I will open the DWSim. Let me see if I can open. Let's take this. I can, of course, you might have a bigger screen. You can do it better. So here it is, right? I can actually make this smaller. Take the video on one side, make it as small as possible, as small as required. Okay. And then in the rest of the screen, you open DWSim itself. And then you listen to a command, you practice it. Whatever this video asks you to do, please reproduce. It is not just listening. You have to reproduce every video as required for that week. Okay, and you have 1 week to do that. Okay, we put it back. And what I will do is we'll conduct a quiz at the beginning of the class based on relevant spoken tutorials that you would have gone through. And then you will also be given lab work to be completed and submitted after the class. Okay. How do we conduct the quiz? I'll come to that shortly. Lab work to be completed and submitted after the class onto Moodle. The quiz will be through Safe App. Has anybody heard of Safe App? Created by Professor Bhaskar Raman of Computer Science at IIT Bombay. Okay, some of you might have seen it, and then we will give instructions on how to get started. In fact, in the next week itself, before the quiz, we will announce. We will ask you to do a few things before the class. One of them being installation of Safe App, downloading, installing, and there will also be a mock test ahead of time, mock quiz. So you can do that ahead of time, and so that you get used to it. And then when you come to the class, we will conduct the quiz using this app.